Hey, it's Bilal, and this is Deep Sea, the podcast about seeing the world more deeply. I haven't taken a vacation since I started my business Macrohive almost a year ago. I did take some time off when my mother passed away, but obviously that doesn't really count as a holiday at all. And then when I was thinking of vacation over the Easter period, I got struck by COVID, which sent everything upside down. But finally, I am taking a week or so off during the summer. And as I'm a few days into my holiday, well, when I say holiday, what I really mean is a staycation. I'm still at home, but I'm not working. What it allows you to do is to remind you that your mind does need a break. Your mind, after all, is like any other part of you where you can't use it all the time without it starting to suffer. And what I find at least is that when I'm always on through working and having no breaks, then my energy levels start to fall, my creativity starts to fall. And it's not really surprising that your creativity falls, because what you're really doing is you're using your analytical part of your mind, the cognitive part of your mind, to excess. So you're repeating your thought patterns again and again to solve all those little puzzles of work that you have. And it's very hard when you're on that mindset to really break out of those repetitive thought patterns and really come up with something different or creative, which requires a different set of thought patterns. And holidays and vacations are the perfect way to reset everything, to allow you to take that step back and start to think in a different way. And this excessive use of the cognitive mind is something that I imagine many other people have always struggled with throughout our lives. We've all had this big focus on academic excellence, which puts a big weight on the cognitive aspect of our thinking. And then the types of jobs we go into are very analytical, at least mine have been. And so again, there's a huge weight on the cognitive side of the mind. And what that does is it neglects other parts of your mind, the deeper side, which some people call spiritual, or other people call purpose, or the meaning side of your thinking. And of course, we have bodies as well. The mind comes from the brain, and the brain is housed within the head, and the head is part of the body, and we tend to neglect the body. When I'm at work, for example, I'm sitting in front of a screen all day, my body isn't really moving or being put to much use beyond tapping on a keyboard. And years ago, I had this therapist/management coach who told me that the thing I needed most to do was to tap into other aspects of myself, whether that was things related to feeding the emotional side of me, or the spiritual side of me, or the physical side of me. And she encouraged me heavily to listen to a lot more music and to do dance and exercise. And these are the things I don't naturally incline towards. But again, when you have time off or your vacation, it allows you to restore the balance. And so some of the things I'm going to do during my time off is, one, have a fairly regular routine of physical activity, whether it's running or other forms of exercise, yoga, which is something I've got back into, or walks. I live in Wimbledon, which has some great green spaces. And one of the beauties of doing exercise, whether it's running or walking in nature, is that it tunes you to the natural environment much more. So you go for walks or runs during the day, so then you start to become aware of when the sun is out, when it gets dark. You're also more attuned to the weather as well. You prefer to run in dry conditions. I also, for example, don't like to run in the sun, so I would tend to run either early morning or later in the day as well. And I think anything that kind of brings you back to nature, I think, is very grounding and helpful for people like myself who situate ourselves so much in our minds. The other thing I'm going to focus on, or not focus on, I should say, is my phone. Since I started the business, I've been losing my discipline around checking my phone. So I tend to check my phone way too much. When I worked in the corporate world, I became very disciplined and only would check my phone 3 times a day. Now, since starting the business, I've tended to check my phone a lot more over the course of the day. And I'm going to try to get back to the habit of not checking my phone all the time. When I do check my phone all the time, I find that it destabilizes me in some ways, in the sense that it takes my attention from the here and now and the people around me. It also distracts me and takes me down paths which are often quite wasteful. And later, I don't even know what I was checking on the phone. So some kind of digital diet is in order as well. And the final thing I'm going to focus on is my social life. In recent months, I think I've neglected reaching out to my social relations outside of immediate family. So whether that's friends or old colleagues who I've kind of thought often I'd love to get back in touch with them, but I invariably end up finding an excuse not to. So I'm going to try to use this time to reach out to as many people as I can just to reconnect and touch base and see how people are doing. So that's some of my plans for this much needed vacation, and hopefully this will be the first of many regular holidays I'll be taking from here onwards. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend about the podcast, leave a rating on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you go for your podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BilalHafiz123. You can also follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook or my blog, bilalhafiz.com. For my research work, you can go to macrohive.com. I'll be back soon, so tune in then.